Shall we start? I think the most important moment with any recording is starting, and we are doing this right now. So we are starting this podcast right now.
And we are going to talk about introduction to open water swimming.
Yes, we'll talk about the introduction to open water swimming, and this is the first attempt for us to just put all our knowledge together. So it's important to understand that we don't have the background in swimming. I didn't start swimming when I was 5. I was doing other sports, and Joanna...
I just learned swimming 3 years ago, pretty much. So that's pretty new for me, but I started swimming open water from kind of no experience. So that's why I would like to share with you guys my tips and what I learned for the last 3 years.
Yeah, because it was quite nice, because I started swimming maybe 5 years ago, before my first Ironman, when I had idea to start doing the Ironman. I could swim before, I had lessons, I've been at uni, had like 3 years of swimming, but it was never open water, it was more like pool based. And then I'm kind of geek when we're talking about the learning new things. I'm geek.
You are, yes, you are. So the moment LESH-ek is into something, he will just read every single article, he listened to podcasts, he watched the movies. Basically, he tried to get everything possibly you can get about the certain topic. So this is what you did about the open water swimming.
Definitely, because I start listening to the books, reading the books. I signed up for the courses, so I did the Ironman coach course, and I did the triathlon level 2 course. Then I had a couple of coaches as well, different coaches. It's important to have different coaches because every person got a little bit different idea. And then we've got friends who are swimming. We've got Alistair, who swam the channel, and then he's amazing open water swimmer, and
Barbara, she's a really good swimmer as well, and she's good in open water as well.
So for some time they've been taking us out and showing us ropes, and then kind of I started first, and then I've got chance to learn how to teach on you, because you wanted to do the Ironman and you had no experience in open water. You see my struggles.
I had no experience in swimming, not just in open water.
Okay, so you had no experience.
So it was both things for me, learning to swim and swimming in the open water. And those two things were freaking me out. So not anymore, which is amazing. After 3 years, I can say I feel really confident in the water, and I don't mind waves, I don't mind choppy water, I don't mind cold.
That's true.
I don't mind sharks. I'm joking, there's no sharks here.
No, not for now. Cut for a second. We need to turn off the heater. Because I can hear there's a lot of noise coming from the heater. The heater is off. Okay, and we are back to it. Boom! Back to it again. Right, so there is no sharks. That's true.
No sharks, no.
Yet, the water is getting warmer. So basically, coming back.
So that's our story. This is how we started. For me, it was from nothing. LESH-ek had pool-based, some kind of experience. He could swim, but the open water environment was new to him. So,
and then in terms of our history of swimming, so I did what? 3 long distance Ironmans, like the full Ironmans, in different waters. And I also did the multiple half Ironmans.
And you did Keltman as well.
And I did the Keltman, which was quite extreme swim.
And we also, from just the swims, we did the Loch Lomond. It was like a swimathon.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of, it's a shore experience, but it's very dense in terms of. So it's only 5 years, but in the same time, there is a lot small experiences with it. So what we prepared for you is like an entry. So it's something we wanted to know before I started. It would be awesome to have something like this. And then today we'll talk about first of all the goal of swimming, because there's a different open water swimmings. After that, we'll talk a little bit about the safety of the open water, because this safety is huge, isn't it? Then we will touch on equipment, there is probably you can make 5 podcasts about the equipment, but we'll just focus a little bit. What else, Joanna? What else we'll do?
We're going to talk about the mindset, because you need to be ready in your head to start swimming. This is kind of it. Everything starts from the head. And then we are going to talk about also about technique and the training.
Yeah, so let's get started. First of all, the open water swimming. What's your goal in open water? What you want to do?
Exactly. Because you know you might just want to go in and out and dip your toes, and this is what you want. You don't want to swim. You just want to basically get wet and have the benefits during the winter of the cold immersion.
But then for the winter, but in summer as well, the water will be always cold. It's gonna be cold. So for this kind of swimming, all you need to do is have the swimming suit. That's it. That's basically it. For the winter one, like this, do you recommend boots?
Yes, boots and gloves. This is 2 things, and also a hat. Just a warm woolen hat if you're not getting your hair wet.
So this is it. You've got, and then cold water dip will be everything from 10 seconds to, let's say, 10 minutes. You're just staying there, and you want to have the experience of getting cold, because there are benefits in it. The second category is the play. So you're not only going to water to get cold, you're just going into the water and you want to just do things. Yeah,
you might like swim a couple of strokes, you might do a handstand, you might do like a dive, I don't know, whatever, play volleyball in the water. Yeah, lots of different stuff.
And in this case, you not necessarily want to get very cold very quickly, so you need some kind of wetsuit. And for the wetsuit, it doesn't really matter. I think the cheaper wetsuit is better. There are wetsuits on where is it? On Amazon or other places.
Wiggle as well.
Wiggle. You can get them for 50 quid, and it doesn't really matter. The thicker is probably better for you, because it allows you to stay longer in the water. Yeah, you can have 2 pieces, 1 piece. Doesn't matter. And then we're going into the swimming. So the swimming wetsuit is a specific one. So I see sometimes people trying to swim in, for example, wetsuit for surfing. Can be done?
Of course.
Of course it can be done, but it's not the best thing.
Yeah.
The same thing with the wetsuits for free diving, for example, or diving. It could be done, but it's not the best. So you need to definitely look for the wetsuit which is for swimming and for triathlon.
Yeah,
so
they usually are thinner on the top, on the shoulders, and thicker in the core area and legs.
Yeah, so they will keep you in the good position, and they cannot be thicker than 5 mil for if you want to ever compete. So if you want to do the competition like the go open water swimming or do the triathlon, the 5 millimeters is the thickest. So you will probably, as Joanna said, you're gonna have this on your hips, the thicker, and then on the mine one got like 2 mils on the shoulders, so it's really easy for me to get the shoulder through.
Yeah, and the last category of swim you might want to do is a winter swim. So for this one, you would need the wetsuit, the warm wetsuit, warmer than better, and then you will also need boots and gloves and neoprene hats.
Yeah, and then we start. I've got problems with my ears. They're getting like the water gets in, so we start using the plugs, ears plugs, which are it's kind of good thing to do, because then your ears are free of the water. And there is also something called this. I think it's a diver ear or surfer ear. That's basically the cold water does something to your ear, and at some point, if you are unlucky, you will have to have the wee operation to kind of open the. It's just. Yeah,
that's why the plugs.
That's why the plugs. Just it's better to have them.
But it's only if you're going in and out. Don't worry about it. But it's like when you're doing this often and longer, then maybe it's something to consider.
Yeah. What else? There's other things. Like if you swim and you're thinking about this swimming, Joanna mentioned the cap. Open water cap should be bright. The brighter it is, it's better, because you will be. It's to keep your head warm, but it's also to see, we need to see you. Like
yes, so the pink,
other people need to
orange, bright yellow, bright green, they're great colors. Red, blue, maybe not necessary. Black, not really. So yeah, think about something super bright you would maybe normally not wear.
Do we have our cup here? I think we've got. Can you pass one? So no, they are under. They're under the. Yes. They're there. No, deeper.
Okay, you just keep talking.
I'm gonna keep talking. So there we go. So this is our cup. That's the. There we go. So you see, nice and bright. Fitness Soul Seals, join us. Right, so we've got the cup.
So for the winter, I would say 2 cups. So you would have this on the top, and then underneath I'm wearing neoprene hat. So it's really warm and thick. I think it has like 5 millimeters, and then I've got this on the top, so the head gets really warm, which is good. I mean, like, it's not gonna get really warm, it's just warmer.
It's just warmer, so it can stay longer. The other thing, you've got the cup that you need the floating device. If you ever, we're gonna talk about the safety in 2 seconds, but equipment wise, the floating device is good. So it's normally a pull buoy, which you put the air in. There's a thing around your waist,
like a belt, like and clip with the clip. And
this kind of it goes behind you when you swim. So first of all, if you get tired, you can grab this buoy, and you can rest. But also people can see you, which is important thing. Anything else, like
the goggles?
We forgot about the goggles.
You might want to have, like, if you're putting your head under the water, then I think it will be a good idea.
The goggles are good, and there are plenty of different goggles.
And they are different for open water swimming as well. You can use the ones you're using for the pool, there is no problem, but I like wearing they are quite big and wide, so they cover more my face than the traditional pool swimming goggles.
And I went completely other way, and I'm wearing those Swedish one, which are just getting straight into your eye here, which I found really comfortable at this moment, and also they are super cheap because they are like £6, I think, and when you need to spend like 24 or 25 for yours. So there's a different. The most important one on this one is it's the fitting. You need to have the one which are fitting well and they're not leaking. And the good advice, you need to spit into them before the swim.
When they are dry.
When they are dry, spit to them, and then do this with that, and then they will not gonna catch any steam, because otherwise you might not see anything.
Yeah, so spit it, spread it with your finger, rinse it in the water, put it on your head, you're ready to go.
Yeah, because there are things you can there are sprays. They cost a couple of pounds, but we found it that first of all they are quite expensive, and secondly I'm always forgetting them. So it's better to have them like just. And
you've got your saliva everywhere, right?
Right. So this is the equipment, and then we can go to the safety. Safety should be first. Like in the water, when you getting into the water, the safety is the most important thing.
So before you go swimming, first just check your environment. Have a look if it's a sea, if there are waves, if it's low tide, high tide, how the water behaves, so you can just make your judgment. Is it safe to swim, or maybe this spot is not really good? And
the thing is, it's your decision. I might go swimming and I might say this is good for me because I've been in this environment a lot of times, but for you it might be not safe, so you might make decision. You need to call it. Don't look at other people, just make your own decision. If you're feeling scared, maybe it's not the good time to go.
So if you are not living next to the sea, like it's not 10 minutes for you, not 20, you have to make a trip, I would suggest to check a website like maybe surfing website like Magic Seaweed, for example. It's a great way to check what the swell is like and the tides as well. So you might want to do that before coming and wasting your journey. So
to explain, first of all, you're looking for the tide. I think if you're a novice and you're starting swimming, or even for the safety, it's always good, never swim when the tide goes out, because it means that you will be able to go faster out and it's gonna be harder to get in. The good place to swim is the slack tide. It's in between the tides, so the high tide just happened and then slow one didn't happen yet, so we've got like a window of half an hour, or other way around, there is a slow low tide going into the big one, and this is probably better because it means that you will have to work a little bit harder going out, but then the tide will get you into the shore. So that's one thing. When you are more advanced and when you already know the environment, that doesn't really matter. But to start with, it's important.
But if you're dipping, just going in and you having your feet on the ground is not important as well.
Yeah, that's not important. Now the swell, it's all about the waves. So you want to keep it as low as possible, like zero. The flat water, we dreaming for this water. That's what you want. You want to have a flat water, and the experience is amazing. But it doesn't happen very often, unfortunately. Not in Scotland. There is a lot of winds here, so there will be always a little bit swell. Like yesterday, we went to check. We want to do some free diving, and the swell was 5 feet.
And we weren't sure what is it like. How does it look?
It's don't go.
Yeah,
it's too much. It's good for surfing, not good for swimming. Obviously, you can swim in it, and I remember one Ironman. Remember the half Ironman in Edinburgh? I think it was the first one.
It was, yeah.
The first half Ironman in Edinburgh, like
2016 or maybe
2 or 3 years ago, when the waves been like crazy, and it's like they should cancel this swim, but they didn't cancel because it was first Ironman, and they cut the swim in half. And still so many people didn't finish because of the waves. And this is important, you know, you start getting into the water and you will start getting more and more accustomed to waves. Because it's okay to swim in them, but it's just harder, and you need to learn how to breathe. And like today, there was a little bit higher, especially when we went out to the buoy. So you need to kind of time your breathing on the moment when you are on the top of the wave, not under, because otherwise you're gonna get hit in your face.
But for the safety, if you are deciding to swim when it's quite choppy and there are waves, just make your own judgment. What LESH-ek said, this is very important. Like, are you strong enough to swim, you know, in the waves? Maybe don't go too far. Swim with someone. This is always good advice. So just be really, because it's not joke. It's not water. It's not, you know, like, you know, I'm tough. You can be tough on the land, climbing the Munros or running the Munros, but in the water it's a little bit different story.
It's different. One thing, it doesn't happen very often, but in case of lighting, don't get into the water. So in Scotland, I've seen lighting maybe twice. I mean,
this year, actually, this summer was quite.
Oh yes, okay. But for example, in Poland, the lighting happens in the summer every second day. So this is the time you need to stay away from the water, because I think it's not good to get hit with the lighting when you are in the water.
What about when it's raining? Can you go and swim when it's raining?
Well, you can. The only disadvantage of this is that you will have everything which is on the shore will be swept into the water. So you need to, like, if it's raining for like 5 days, we're not going in, because we're swimming in the city center and there's a lot of sewage here, so we're kind of trying to not swim. But it's, you know, today there was a little bit of rain, but it's fine.
Yeah,
this was okay.
If it's like in the middle of nowhere, that's not a big deal. But if it's in the city or somewhere near to the village, or maybe there's lots of fields and you know the water can, you know, be swept from the fields, then maybe this is not the time. Yeah.
What's next? The temperature, and this is the most important thing, I think, because in the pool the water will be always the same temperature, and it's like nice and toasty, 23 or 25 degrees. But the water in the sea, well, now it's around 9. It's still okay. You can still swim. Yeah. We've been swimming for 30 minutes or 35 minutes today. It's okay. Although you need to be careful. You need to be careful because, first of all, if you're not used to this, you're not gonna enjoy it. Your shoulders will get stiff, and it's gonna be very hard for you to get the stroke in, and it will be just painful, painful experience. But again, like with everything, you can get used to. So
exactly.
Remember, last year we didn't swim at this time, and now we're swimming almost every second day. So, you know, it's
the body gets used to, but you need to do it gradually rather than just throw yourself with the temperature on the deep end, because you might just suffer with the hypothermia.
Yeah, and there's one thing with this article. We always thought that you can get used to the water, Like you can get used to cold water, that's fine, but your body doesn't really getting used to. So you still might get hypothermia. Even so, basically, if you are really novice, there is a small chance that you will get hypothermia because your brain will tell you just go away. But if you've been doing this for some time and you're advanced, you can push yourself to the limit, push it beyond the limit, and then you might get hypothermia, and then things are not nice on the other side. There is it's quite scary. I did it. I pushed myself, unfortunately, or fortunately, because I know how it feels. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago?
Probably, I think last year.
So I decided, it was, I think, February or something.
It was cold.
It was super cold. I think it was like 0 degrees air temperature, and then water was like 4, maybe 5, and I wet completely just with my shorts. I went in and I stayed like 15 minutes. I've been swimming up and down, and it was funny because to start with you feel cold, and then you start feeling warm, and you don't feel anything, and then you start feeling enthusiastic. I had this energy, and I thought I don't have to go out. Well, it's fine. I can be here forever. But then I thought like, well, it's 15 minutes. It's been long.
I think I called you. I was like, come on, LESH-ek, it's enough. It's just you've been way too long.
Yes.
And we never been that long before. I was already out of the water like 10 minutes before this.
And what's happened to me later?
And then you just went, yeah, like...
So I had another 10 minutes maybe when I was super happy, and I started getting very cold, and I started shiver a lot, and I couldn't even talk. It was like, and I remember coming in to flat here, and I sat on the sofa. I had like 3 blankets on me, and I don't really remember things from then. Like you know, when
you didn't look good. You didn't look good. Your eyes were rolling back. But the good thing is because you stayed warm, you had blankets, you had warm tea, you quickly came back to normal. But it wasn't long.
But this would be scary if I didn't had, you know, flat next to it, and I stay outside and I didn't put my clothes on very quickly, and the warm tea obviously helps. So it's important to never push the limit, and remember that at some point when you start feeling warm, that you're like, oh, it's weird, you should be out.
Yeah.
Let's never push through this. So for the safety, so hypothermia, how to deal with the hypothermia? The most important thing, get out of the water, dry yourself as quick as possible, put the clothes on, put the hat on, put many clothes on actually, and find some nice hot place. You might have the warm tea, and just rest, and don't panic.
But don't go onto to hot environment straight away, because that might be too much, or under the hot shower, because this might be really tempting. But just gradually, you know, get warmer and warmer, rather than just trying to push yourself to the other side pretty much.
Something we didn't say yet, there is the moment you leave the water, your core temperature still drops for another 20-30 minutes. So that's something important to realize, because your blood is very cold and it's outside, and the blood gets in and you're getting colder and colder and colder. So just when you swim, just make sure that you're adding this time to your swim. So yeah, so you know it might take some time. Don't swim after, don't swim. Don't drive straight after. Give yourself time.
Just to warm up, just to come back to, because the especially in the cold, when you are really cold, it's like amazing feeling in some way, but you might be a little bit spaced out, maybe, you know, you were just like, oh wow, you know, what's just happened. So just stay for a little bit, maybe sitting in your car, just warming up, and then once you are, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you will be ready. It's
very rare, but recently we've been dealing with some short-term amnesia with some of one lady. She had the short time. There's a massive, she wrote a really nice blog about this. If you want to, you can have a look. It might happen, so just be careful. Right, in terms of safety, what else we've got? We've got a training partner.
That's very important. Go with someone, always. Have someone with you. Better is to have this person in the water with you, but even if you have someone on the land, that's, you know, really useful.
Have a spotter, basically say that, please watch me. But going in to the water with someone, it's kind of good idea. What else? The lake, we put the lake versus sea. And what's the differences between lake and sea?
So you won't have waves in the lake unless it's very, very windy. You might have a little bit of choppiness in the lake, but the buoyancy is so much different. So maybe if you are feeling really confident swimming without the wetsuit in the sea, the lake will feel different. You won't be as buoyant. So that's a good thing to remember. Personally, I do swim in the sea. I don't mind swimming in the sea without the buoy, like how you call it, the float. But in the lake, I feel more confident with the float or with the pull buoy between my legs. Just it's extra thing.
And then the sea, there's one thing you really like.
Oh.
Jellyfish and all the animals in. So we, unfortunately in Scotland, we're getting some jellyfish, and in 90% of times they are harmless. They're not gonna. There we go. We've got friend Andrew. How you doing? Hello. Just okay. Cut for 2 seconds. Okay, we're back again. It's a recording. Right. So I've been first now. Well done. So we've been talking about jellyfish.
Okay.
You can tell a lot about jellyfish. So if there is we've got the joke going around that if there is one jellyfish in the water, Joanna will spot it.
Yes, I will.
So yeah, so in the water you will have the jellyfish, but the thing is about the jellyfish that they are harmless. Like 99.9% of jellyfish, they will do nothing.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't know, I don't want to touch them. They just feel like look a little bit weird, and I don't know, I'm really scared they will sting me really hard. But I've been stung by jellyfish, and it's just like a nettle. You just like sometimes you feel like you swimming and there was a plastic bag in the water. This is how it will feel. And then just after the swim, when you're going into the shower, you will feel like, oh, what's that, and then you're like, okay, this is the stunk of the jellyfish.
So don't be afraid of them. We are lucky here that they are not big. I remember the one race, I think it was 2019 Ironman Italy, where you would have to swim through the field of jellyfish, and I remember a couple like actually getting my stroke, grabbing the jellyfish and pulling. This was like massive thing, and I had this massive sting on my arm. I remember this, but we didn't wear the gloves there, so
no. That's why the wetsuit is a good idea, especially if there's lots of jellyfish. Wetsuit and gloves and socks, I would say, if you don't want to get stung.
And there's no other things which can be, sharks. We're always laughing that there might be sharks, but there is no sharks here. The fish are more scared than you are. Who else? The seals, it's kind of fun to swim with them. Every so often there is a seal popping up and then saying hello to us, and we're loving it. She will just keep away like maybe 10-15 meters from you, and she will poke her head up and down, and it's kind of cool, but she won't eat you. And if we're talking about the things which scares you, I think another thing we want to cover here is the mindset. And the mindset of open water swimming, it's a huge topic, and there is something about open water that people are scared. You've got a lot of experience in it.
So for me, when I was first introduced to open water, I didn't mind swimming when I could see the bottom of the sea, when there was sand, and I could actually, like, okay, this is safe, and the water was clear. But the moment I didn't see what's underneath, this freaked me out. The moment I've seen maybe something dark, like a seaweed or something, I don't know, this freaked me out. So it took me 3 years, I think, to to get over it. But it's just me personally. I'm just scared of many things. And another thing which scared me is that when the visibility was really bad, and I could sometimes you just see like up to your elbow, you cannot see anything else. So when I was swimming, I had this thing in my head, what if there is a wall and I'm just gonna hit the wall? I was like, this is really nonsense, isn't it? So lots of different things. So for me, I was really working, pushing my boundaries, and I was lucky to have friends to swim with, so that definitely helped to have someone. So there was someone always beside me swimming with me. But it's just time and just trusting it's gonna get better, it's gonna be easier, and it is. And I really couldn't go swimming on my own. So if we went somewhere and I had someone, despite I had friends with me, but they were 10 meters up, far away from me, this freaked me out. So I really always was asking, can you just be in the front of me, because I'm scared.
And then there's things like, I might say that I'm kind of not afraid of anything, and I might be playing a little bit of bravado just to make you more comfortable, but I do have a moment when I'm scared as well. You know, sometimes the wetsuit got this little thing when you open, which allows you to open the zipper, and every so often this zipper just normally stuck in, but sometimes it kind of floats, and there was couple of times in my life that I get scared of this. I seen it in the corner of my eye, something moving, and I'm like, fuck!
Yeah,
So
the zipper is really scary
the
thing.
zipper is scary.
Like jellyfish, scrap the jellyfish. Yeah.
And some kind of seaweed as well.
Yeah, I got scared many times of like a leaf or a piece of seaweed floating somewhere, and I'm just like...
Some moments, especially in the lakes tend to be very dark. And that's kind of it. You might get a little bit like, the sea is easier because you can see a little bit more, but it's like a deep dark. This is sometimes hard.
But the moment you start focusing, in the moments like that, start focusing on your stroke, on your breathing, you know, just keep going, check your technique, like, is it the way I want to swim? And this helps me a lot. And having the goal also, you know, like, sighting, which will cover as well. You know, like checking where is your target every so often, and then, you know, to be honest, you don't have to really look what's there, just swim, you know. And
that's good. And what else in the mind? Sometimes there was 2 or 3 times, especially last year, that I went in, I came to the water, and I didn't get in. There was a moment like this.
Yeah, you did have this episode.
I had like this, and I don't know why. I just didn't feel like going in, and I'm choosing my battles very carefully. So sometimes I allow myself to be weak and soft, and if I don't really feel like going in, I just decide not to. And it's I think personally it's okay to do this. So take it easy, on your own pace, and you will be, at some point you will be just going into the water like the pool. Yeah, yes, but I add to LESH-ek, to, like, from my experience, everyone is different obviously. I think it's nice to be kind to yourself, but I think every so often you have to challenge yourself. So go really out of the comfort zone, do something that you just don't want to do. Maybe with support of friends, because this is like gives you support. So for example, for me it was going in the choppy water. It was really awful, but then we actually had a choppy water on the race, and I didn't mind it at all. And now I don't mind if there are waves and, you know, it's really choppy, because I went over this obstacle of choppiness, and now I'm fine. So I think it's going like boom, you know, it's a bump, and then or maybe like a stairs, but you're going like, you know, like that. You're pushing yourself a little bit every time. Okay, so you said about the waves and stuff, and so this is perfect time to talk about the technique of open water swimming, because there are differences. The swimming in the pool, it's completely different than swimming in the open water. In the pool, first of all, you've got nice temperature, you see the walls, you see this nice line under you, so you can just look straight down. Every 25 meters you need to tumble turn, and it's kind of they've got lines. It's super nice. In the open water though, you can tell who haven't swum in the open water yet, because these people will go in the circles. They cannot look straight ahead. They tend to have like a lot of very fast strokes. So in the pool, a lot of people swim with the very high stroke cadence of stroking, because you want to it's like a sprinting. In the open water it doesn't really work, because in open water we swim long distances. You know, the Ironman is like almost 4K, and then now there are swims, people swim across the channel and stuff. There's no way you couldn't swim.
You need to save your energy pretty much.
You need to save. So the most important thing, what's important?
Sighting, I would
say.
The sighting, we did mention it before. So the sighting is very important, because otherwise, what LESH-ek said, you're gonna go in the circle if you don't look where you want to go. So choose a target. It might be a buoy you see somewhere on the, in the water, or it might be like a building or a tree you see somewhere, and just, every few strokes, just have a look. Where is it? Okay,
check it. Check it more often than you think, because I know that I'm turning to my left or left. Yes. So basically, if I don't look for 10 strokes, I might be like,
yeah, he is like
30% off or 40% off, and I'm swimming completely the wrong direction. So keeping your eyes on the target, and there is a technique. We cannot show you this here, but it's not very hard to learn how to sight. You're just trying to hit your head a little bit, watch and go down, and watch and go down, and it's a part of your stroke. And you can just practice this, and you get better at this.
Yeah, but it's super important, to have this target. And if you're swimming with someone, choose the same target.
Yes, and don't look at the other people. So if you swim with someone, like on the races,
don't follow people.
Don't follow people. It's good to go behind someone. But don't follow, just you look where you want to go, because the person in front of you might be swimming in the circle as well. So yeah. And then going behind the person, that's something which you don't do in the pool, but in the open water is very common. It's called streamlining, and you want to go straight behind someone. So by doing this, you can save up to 30% of your effort. So like we do this with Joanna. She can go behind me.
Yeah, LESH-ek goes behind me because he's slow, and I can't be bothered to wait for him. So this is why we're doing this.
And then even Joanna even puts like the weights into her pockets just because I'm too slow. But coming back, there's a different ways of streamlining. That it's important to kind of learn this and then practice this often. We do this when we go swimming. Sometimes we actually making the practice of it. So you can stream behind the person. This is one way. You can go on the side, which is a little bit harder, but it's important to learn this, because this will allow you to swim better and further and have more fun.
Yeah, especially if you're swimming faster, slower swimmer together, this is great. But also what LESH-ek said, when you want to go further and maybe change, from one person is leading, then the other person is leading. So there is always someone saving a little bit of energy.
And it's not cheating. It's not cheating in open water. That's a part of technique, tactics for the racing. If you ever want to get into the racing, and if you ever want to do the triathlon, you cannot do this on the bike. You cannot stream someone behind someone, but you can do this. It's called drafting, isn't it? Yeah. On the bike, you cannot draft behind on the bike, but you can draft during the swim, and you should, because
use it.
Use it if you use it, but learn this before.
Yeah. So the last thing, we did mention the waves, swimming in the waves, which we don't mind anymore. And LESH-ek did mention the Ironman, which you did a few years ago and was really, really choppy. And you did actually really well. There was a group of you swimming from the same club. You were swimming, and normally you weren't the fastest person. You were kind of medium. Yeah. So the guys who were usually smashing the pool sessions, they left the water the same time as you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the harder water conditions, I think, will the people who are stronger, and it's not necessarily stronger swimmer, meaning faster swim, it's a stronger general. So have the better core and better strength, they will be faster.
So LESH-ek, what he did, he was doing lots of strength training before this triathlon, and those guys didn't. They were just swimming, cycling and running, which is great, but the strength training is really important, especially if you want to swim in different conditions. And also this might help you to go longer in the open water, last longer.
There's this guy, Ross, I can't remember his name. He swam around the Great Britain. It's a Great British swim. Incredible achievement. But the guy, he doesn't look like a swimmer. I really recommend his book, but even just check the pictures. the guy looks like a bodybuilder. And he said he only lost the swim because he was actually doing the strength training during the swim. So he swam 6 hours 6 hours, 6 hour rest, 6 hours, and he would do this for 100 days or 200, crazy, like 6 months, I think. Yeah, it was almost 6 months. But he was doing swimming, and on the top of that, he was doing the strength training on the boat. Wow. Crazy. But it just shows you that the strength is important. And the other thing for strength, which is super important as well, is that it will allow you to avoid the injuries. Because swimming will put a lot of pressure on your shoulders, especially if you do the pool swimming technique, where you know the old style, or I don't know, I'm not the swimmer, but basically getting the elbow very high and then keeping this there and reaching. This puts a lot of strain. It's fine when you do 25 meters in the pool, but I've noticed if I try to do this in the open water for longer, it doesn't really work. So I've changed my technique. Now I'm kind of following the guy Adam Walker, I think it's the ocean swimmer, ocean walker, the guy who swam all the biggest channels in the world. He got amazing way of swimming, like completely different. You basically taking your arm around. This saves your shoulder, but in the same time doing the strength training will allow you to stop getting injured, and that's what we want.
So let's finish with the last thing, maybe the training. The
training for open water. Where
to start?
Where to start?
What's your goal? First thing, what's your goal? Why you want to train? Do you want to just have fun? Then you don't have to, you can just switch off this podcast. But if you are training for something, a particular race, or you want to last longer, time-wise, distance-wise, then
I would attack, and this is how I was swimming, and this is how we all swam before our racing. That's the same way as you run. It's like 80-20 rule. That's very common. You spend a lot of time in your zone 1 or 2 where you swim slow or run slow. In this case, it's swimming, and you're not really thinking about how fast you go. So the GPS watch, fine, but it's all about the time. So you want to, let's say you want to swim Ironman, and then it's gonna take you like hour and 5. For me, for you is hour 12, 20, something like this. Just make sure you are comfortable swimming through this, swimming for hour on the many occasions. So build up. So first of all, go for 10 minutes, then build, then get hour, maybe hour 15, just overshoot a little bit. So this is like 2 or 3 sessions per week. One session, try to do very fast one, so do some sprinting. So now instead of going for long, you go short distances, but very fast. And you can increase the distance, from 20 meters to 100 meters, repeat. That's important. I think this is one of the easiest ways for training. So, and don't really get stuck on GPS and then how far you went, because it doesn't really...
The watches, they measure, like sometimes we go together and
we've got the same watch.
We have the same watch. My watch says something different than LESH-ek's, and we actually swam together, because sometimes we don't. Sometimes LESH-ek goes back and forward and comes back to fetch me and swim further. But sometimes we swim exactly, together, and we have 2 different things.
So, just don't be too attached too much to this. Swimming on the time is probably better. And this is what, for example, I'm looking at now slowly into the swimming the channel, the from English Dover to France. And those people, they not swim by the kilometers, they swim by time. So they session today is 4 hours of swimming, and that's it. Have fun. But you basically swim for 4 hours, and that's how I prefer doing this, and I stopped wearing watch altogether, which kind of suits me quite well.
So let's wrap up, right, guys? So we've been talking about a few different things today. We were talking about our story. We've been talking about the goals of your swimming, about equipment,
about safety, about the mindset, technique, training. There's a lot of things there. If you have any questions, we are here for you. So please get in touch. Let us know if you want to know something more about the swimming.
And also, if you're Edinburgh now, we are running those open water swimming sessions on Sundays just now, but we are also considering other days. So maybe if you want to train with a group of friends and you're looking for a coach, then give us a shout.
Because, yeah, so Sunday 9:45 Worthy Bay or 9:10:15 for the swim.
You have to register.
Yeah, there are links there, so just go and check that. And I think that's all, isn't it? Well done.
For lasting, if you listen to the whole thing, well done.
Have a good swimming and see you out there. Stay
see you
safe.
in the sea.
Bye.